it's fun to talk about this in Massachusetts because one of Cassidy's historical contributions is that he and his original partner, Ken Schlossberg, I say in this book, actually invented the modern earmark. I define the modern earmark as an appropriation by Congress for a purpose that no government agency recommended, that nobody's thought of as good policy particularly, but to fulfill the ambition of some private or local institution that wanted to get some federal money to do something that was part of its own planning and ambition. Tufts University was the recipient of the first earmark. And it was an idea of Jean Mayer, the famous nutritionist who had become the president of Tufts in the late 70s, mid 70s. And Mayer wanted to build a research center on human nutrition and aging. This was his field, but he wanted to do it for the Tufts Medical School to help strengthen Tufts. It was a pretty good idea. And he was a famous figure in the world of nutrition. It wasn't outrageous that this would happen. He had been encouraged by the local congressman. He said, if I can help you while you're president of Tufts, let me know. I'll be glad to help you. That was a fellow called Tip O'Neill. And then Mayer calls Schlossberg and Cassidy on the telephone and says, I see you guys have gone into business in Washington as consultants. I wonder if you could help me do this. And they were thrilled. And Cassidy himself, a lawyer, found some legislation on the books that seemed to authorize government expenditures on behalf of something like a nutrition research center. With the help of O'Neill's staff and then other members of the Massachusetts delegation at the time, they ended up getting $27 million for Tufts to build this thing, which is down in Boston right now in Chinatown, a thriving institution. It's part of the Department of Agriculture, which is good for Tufts because it means the Department of Agriculture picks up a big part of the tab. This led to further earmarks for Tufts. Then Boston College heard what was going on, and they hired Cassidy, and they got earmarks for Boston College. Then John Silber showed up at Boston University. He got in on the game. He became Cassidy's biggest single client over the last 30 years. He was getting earmarks to build up BU. And as you know, of course, the earmarks became one of the most popular games in Washington. John McCain ran his presidential campaign last year against earmarks. They've become very controversial, but also very popular. And there have been millions and millions of them. So this is a historic truth, as you say, that Mr. Cassidy and his original partner did contribute to this new culture that we have.
This excerpt is brought to you by the Massachusetts School of Law, the leader of reform in legal education and a leader in multimedia education for the public. To view the full interview and for a full listing of MSL's programs, log on to mslaw.edu.